Our favorite fundamentalist, Gordon Klingenschmitt, has a new theory about Adam and Eve that he'd like to share with us. Listen.
There are certain weeds in the garden, even in the Garden of Eden, that were forbidden by God. And I'm going to throw out an interesting hypothesis here. Everyone sees the image of Adam and Eve in the garden, right? And there's the snake who tempted Eve, and Eve bit the apple, and she handed it to Adam, and he bit the apple. Here's my hypothesis. Everyone thinks it's an apple. I think apples are healthy. I don't think it was an apple at all. The Bible doesn't use the word apple. The Bible does use the word forbidden weed. So here's my hypothesis. Maybe it was marijuana. How do you know? And biblical scholars may research this and may dispute this. How do you know that the serpent didn't give pot to Eve and say, go ahead. In the day that you eat this, you're not going to die. The fact is, you are going to die.
This guy, man, this guy. He's supposedly a Bible literalist. He has no idea what's in the Bible. So get this. As I'm watching this earlier, this was on Right Wing Watch, I'm hearing this, I start laughing, and then I'm like, okay, let me do what any normal person would do and check. So I type Adam and Eve story into Google, click the first or second link, which is, it's basically the Bible online, the actual passages from the Bible. It doesn't say forbidden weeds. It says fruit. It says fruit time and time and time again in the Bible. Weed isn't a fruit, you dipshit. But even the most basic shit, Gordon Klingenschmitt fumbles the facts. That's the most basic thing. Look, if that's your feeling, oh, well, I think that in Adam and Eve with eating the fruit, they really meant eating weed. You didn't bother to look it up? You didn't bother to go to Google? You didn't bother to check? Before you go out there and say these things and make a fucking ass of yourself in front of the 6 people that listen to your TV show and watch, you didn't bother to check? It's not that hard. I don't know what it is, but there's something about these conservative Christians, they disagree with the idea of research, even the premise of research. They're like, no, I'd rather just make things up as I go along. But that doesn't mean that you're right. You need to actually verify the shit that you say. But then again, I'm screaming at fundamentalists to fact check. If they were fact checkers, they wouldn't be fundamentalists in the first place. But we all know why he's doing this too. He's trying to demonize marijuana. He's just the typical classic right-wing conservative Christian ideologue, where, just all the things they believe in, he believes in, and one of the things they believe in is, we're anti-drug, we're anti-fun, don't ever take a pill, don't ever smoke anything, don't ever take a hit, we're against all kinds of fun that might actually lead you to open your mind. By the way, that's one of the things that's really interesting about marijuana as a drug. I've mentioned on the show many times about my experience with it and how most of the times I got paranoid, and so it wasn't my drug of choice necessarily. But what I find is across the board with people who smoke weed is they say it really does kind of open up your mind and make you think about different things, and it leads your brain down these different and interesting paths, and it's like a smart drug, I'd call it, It's not just like, cocaine or Adderall would be, which is an upper, or like Xanax or I don't know, Valium would be, which is a downer. It's you can get giddy at first and really happy, and then it'll calm you down, but it'll also make you think. And it'll also make your brain kick into high gear. And one of the connections that I got from watching this is, how right in line is that with the way that fundamentalists think? Avoid any substance that would open your reality and expand your horizons. Avoid anything that's outside of your comfort zone, Avoid anything that might actually make you be promiscuous. So certain drugs, of course, would up your libido and make you more horny and make you feel more sympathetic and connected with people. Avoid anything that takes you outside of what you should be doing, which is pure blind obedience to your religion. It's such a sad existence, man. It's such a sad existence. It's so transparent. He's just trying to slam marijuana, and he did it by invoking Adam and Eve. And also, he says it as if it's like a factual conversation, like, other people think it's an apple. I think it was weed that Adam and Eve were talking about and that they were involved with and everything. Well, I think that there was no fucking Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, that's 6,000 years ago with the Garden of Eden and everything. We know that that's not true. We know that as a matter of fact. The world is 4.54 billion years old. Not 6,000. You want to talk about missing the mark? 6,000 versus 4.54 billion? You're so far off. You're so far off. 6,000 years ago, humans were relatively modern. You know? Like, we have trees that are older than 6,000 years. And they're like, no, that's how old the world is, and the world started with 2 people. So the whole idea of evolution, he's just like, no, it's Adam and Eve. No evolution, even though there's a fucking mountain of evidence. For fuck's sake, we have the same number of hair follicles on our body as apes do. Is that a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that we all defecate? Is that a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that our DNA structure is, 99% alike at least? It's probably even more than that. Is that a coincidence? So everybody, you should probably take your science ideas from Gordon Klingenschmitt and your ideas on the Bible. It turns out Adam and Eve, not only are they anti-fruit and anti-apple and anti-knowledge. Remember, they ate from the tree of knowledge. So God's admitting in the Bible, yes, we're against knowledge. We want you to not think and follow us. But also they were anti-drug.